Greetings, Anton here with an important H3VR devlog for you. That's right, it's time to do the roadmap, how we're going to be starting off 2022. Yet another year still here, still playing with our wieners. So basically what I've got to talk to you folk about today is stuff that basically falls into 5 different categories. They're going to be the focus points starting now at the sort of beginning of the year. I don't know how long each of these things is going to take over the course of the whole year, as they're all essentially going to be done in parallel. I'm going to be jumping between all of them, as pretty much all of these have some measure of collaboration with them. I'm working with various sorts of artists and other contractors to move these things forward, and so they don't block each other. They're all stuff that you're going to see develop over this year, and hopefully not the whole year. So cool, so let's jump right in. So the first thing obviously is that we have an item spawner to finish. It's been well received, it's working pretty well, but there's some critical functionality that needs to be completed for it that falls into sort of 2 subcategories. First of which is getting all the tutorials done. I know this is only relevant to some of you, but you know, I know many of you are very experienced with the game at this point, but at the same time, there's lots of unexplained hidden mechanics in H3 and objects with fun little abilities that I have not, unless you've watched all the devlogs, you probably don't know they're there. So that is on the docket and is super important. And then the second part is the vault and sort of figuring out how the new vault for the game is going to function. I would like it to be a little more integrated into the spawner, in that instead of having it always be this sort of separate page and list of things, I would like it to be the sort of thing where you can basically just have the entry for a given weapon open and see that you've got several vault entries for that specific weapon right on its page. I need to figure out the UI flow for this. I don't exactly know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I want you to both be able to just like hit a button and be like, I just want to see the entries that I have a vault entry for, but I also want to make it so that if you say pull up your your favorite platform and you've got a bunch of vault entries for them, they're all collated right there for you. So yeah, so that's basically the item spawner stuff. It's kind of boring to work on, so I'm going to be dragging my heels a little bit on it, but it'll get done. The next one, a little more exciting obviously, is the grill house scene and all of the things that I am developing in it and iterating and trying to get to run well and such. We've got stuff like the door pathing logic needs to be worked out for the SOSIGs, finishing the glass functionality. Its UVing still needs to be tweaked. The damage values need to be tweaked. Right now it's a little too easy to break with light collisions. That's going to be dealt with. The stress testing has been going super well with it though from a performance standpoint, so I'm super happy about that. And then I need to basically build global systems for the doors and windows. And what I mean by global systems, I mean the ability for game logic in a scene to be able to sort of call global things like fix all the doors again, reset the glass, make all the doors locked, make all the doors unlocked, spawn me a specific key to this door so it exists in the scene, that sort of stuff. Sort of boring infrastructure, but it's the sort of foundation that takes it from being like a neat technical experiment to gameplay that needs to get done. And obviously still just sort of stress testing destructibles in the scene more generally, because obviously I tested those a whole bunch in the Proving Ground, but Proving Ground is like a big old box, so I don't fully know what the performance profile is going to be once I really fill that scene with the correct number of destructible decorations, and so I'll be doing that very soon. In terms of spawning SOSIGs and such in that scene, and this sort of bridges into our third category. I know a lot of you are like, it's a pain to have to place all the SOSIGs everywhere I want, every time I want to just play in the scene. I get it. I'm going to eventually have a more robust system for doing that, but I don't want you to have to wait for that, because that will take months, sort of thing. So what I'm going to actually do, probably for the next content update for the game, is I'm going to build a temporary system. I'm just going to throw a weekend into it, and make it so that there's a whole bunch of sort of pre-configured places where you can start and Sosigs can start to sort of run some fun scenarios. It won't be permanent or in the least bit final, but should give those of you who are already playing in the scene right now and enjoying it a bunch of like, I just want to hit some buttons and have some dudes there and attack me in this direction, bop kind of system, so that you don't have to manually set that up each time. Eventually, that functionality will be covered by a more robust system, which is going to be the third category I'm talking about here. This is sort of like an idea that has evolved out of Game Planner, which I had talked about last year, which was a bit too big of an idea. I sort of ran into a bunch of tooling and architecture problems with it. And so I've honed it down to what's really important, the sort of core verbs, which is setting up targets and resetting them, setting up Sosigs in a sort of scenario, like these go here, these try to attack here, these patrol here, they're of this type, they're on these IFFs. That's it. And trying to make that a honed, quick-to-use system. And that's what Range Saver is going to be. And the way that I want to architect it is so that a scene can have essentially a bunch of default Range Saver templates or presets already built into it. So for those of you who don't want to have to set up custom anything for you to enjoy playing, but just want to be able to just play in a scene, there will be a whole bunch of those preset scenarios, kind of like the one that's in the breaching scene, but with a bunch of options. But those will all be built using the same system that you as a player can set up and be like, I want a sniper there, and I want some guards there, and those two are going to breach through and attack here, and the player starts here, sort of thing. And being able to just save that, construct that super quickly with what I'm probably going to call just Sosig nodes, which will basically just be Sosig spawn points, places that they path to, places that they'll patrol around. And I think that's way more executable than my original idea last year, which was like, I'll make it so people can construct whole games, and very quickly ran into the like, that's a whole team's worth of tooling to make happen, and it just, yeah, too much. But this is and just a lot of UI work. So this is a more honed and efficient idea. It's way more executable, and I think gets at the core of what most people will want to actually play with. So yes, that's Range Saver. Fourth category of thing, which is finishing up the Meat Fortress content. We got 2 more characters to do. We got the Engie and we got the Pyro. I've got a cool custom weapon for each of them. I'll have some more custom ammos. Custom grenade for each one. I've got a couple more absolutely incredible original creations by Pi Savvy done in the TF2 style that are just, they are just incredible. And then once those are all set, I'm gonna finally sit down and design the take and hold character for Meat Fortress, because I'll have all the weapons in. I can design a custom progression for the equipment that's actually based on like how powerful that equipment is, and then do some really fun things with the enemies in there. I've got some cool ideas, so I think that'll be a really fun take and hold character to design. And along that topic, the sort of fifth category of things we have in here is take and hold characters. I've got a couple more meme-tastic meat ones that are going to finally come out this year. We're going to do our action movie one. There's going to be one very soon that is very much inspired by the game that Anton's been playing a little bit too much of the past couple months, which is Escape from Tarkov. So I know there's already a very, very popular one based off of that's in the mod scene. I think it's called like PMC Pete. That's super cool. Has a bunch of neat custom mechanics. I'm not doing something that involved. This is still going to be just a very much a straight take and hold character, just with some bosses at the end of the waves. But all the content that I've made for it, I'm sure the modders will then take and update PMC Pete with. There's some really fun new costumes. And that's one of the other things that is going to be sort of occurring in the background over the course of this past year, is that there's a tremendous amount of SOSIG content that has been in development, both for sort of existing stuff that's in the game and for something bigger that I'm not ready to talk about at all. But you should, I will tease it this far. There's another game mode that is in production, that has actually been in production for a while now, that has just a lot of some of you might have been like, all these destructibles and these new environment objects and these SOSIG costumes, it's for something. Well, it is for something, but obviously we're holding those cards all the way to my chest for now. But they eventually things will be made clear when I'm far enough down the line. In the past, I have announced things a little too early sometimes, and people get impatient, or they think that an idea is dropped or it's done, it's gone. And so this one, I'm waiting until it hits a slightly later threshold of functionality before I talk about it in detail. But I promise you it'll be worth waiting for. So yeah, and obviously in between all this stuff, we'll be getting, more guns, more gun systems, things like that. I've got a whole bunch of content sort of sprinkled in to keep you folks entertained while I do a whole bunch of the more boring parts of this, which is all of the infrastructural coding and, systems optimizations and such. But in general, I'm super happy with the place that the game is in at this point. Most of its systems are sort of reaching a level of maturity that I'm really happy with. There's great sort of API communication with the stuff that the vibrant mod scene has been doing, which makes me super happy. The tooling that those folks all have been making for themselves continues to impress me. It's some really great stuff. So yeah, but that is what 2022 is looking like so far. And of course, there are a whole bunch of surprises that will come about when it is the correct moment for that. But until then, I hope y'all who are watching and still playing the game and following the game are excited, and that you're still having fun in this strange meat gun floppy simulator. And yeah, I hope you all are excited for 2022 and what it will bring to H3. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.